a group of us started it. Joe Mack was one of them, Mark Evans, and several other people in the early 90s, and we've been doing it ever since. In just the food bank from the Baton Rouge area in 12 parishes, we decided that we would expand to other parishes, and instead of having 4 processors, we now have 18, and they go all the way from, we have 2 in Tallulah, Louisiana, all the way down to Jeanerette, Louisiana. And so we've got the east portion of the state pretty much covered. We've got 4 places in and around the Natchez area, and those processors are, when you bring the deer in, you drop the deer off, they process the deer into stew meat or whatever, and then we have found local banks or individuals or small companies that are willing to pay for the processing so that the hunter doesn't have to pay for it. And we have a live website now, hunters4hungrylouisiana.org, and you can go on that website and find out who the processors are, what parish they're in, what county they're in, and who to contact. So it's easier for you if you're hunting in, let's say, Grant Parish or whatever. You know there's a processor right down there in the middle of Alexandria that you can take your deer or your hog to. Most people have a smartphone. You get on the smartphone, you go to our website, and you can find right off the bat who are the ones that are participating. You can punch that number into MapQuest, and it'll lead you right down to Rayleigh's processor or whoever. And there's another one, you know, in Natchez Dunn's, and they're very conveniently located. Literally before we left some of these processors, before we got home, we were getting hogs and deer in, but mainly hogs. Hogs have really surprised, well, they haven't surprised us. They've overtaken, in some places, they've overtaken our deer donations. We only have probably 25% of the processors right now that are covered and sponsored. With the help of Wildlife and Fisheries, we're hoping that next year we'll have at least half the state and maybe 3/4 of the state covered, so that whether you're in Union Parish or in Calcasieu Parish, you can find a processor within 4 or 5 miles, drop your hog off, drop your deer off with no cost to yourself, and be certain that that particular hog is probably going to stay right there in Calcasieu Parish instead of going back to Baton Rouge. And there are soup kitchens in Lake Charles, there's Acadiana Outreach in Lafayette, there's the Manor House in Alexandria. So we're finding these soup kitchens all over the state. And the new thing is really our involvement with State Wildlife and Fisheries, our partnership, and Jimmy Anthony has meant a tremendous amount to that effort. And we're hoping next year we'll have it all covered. Those deer are thrown in the back of the Wildlife and Fisheries agent's truck. He goes to, let's say it was Tallulah, Louisiana, drops it off at one of our processors, and he gets to go home, be with his family that night. But they've been doing that for years, but it's going to cover the whole state now. So this is going to help all of our wildlife agents who've worked so hard for all these many years. Go to the website. Once again, hunters4hungrylouisiana.org. So that's how people can get involved, and they can help us start Clean Out the Freezer Day. Baton Rouge has a Clean Out the Freezer Day. Lafayette has a Clean Out the Freezer Day. Monroe, Shreveport, you know, they don't have Clean Out the Freezer Day, so that's another way. So all you need to do is contact us through this website, and we'll get you involved.
Right-hand man, I'm not sure if I'm still the right-hand man, but I've been involved with Hunters for Hungry, I think about 12 years now. And 4 or 5 years ago, Richard asked me to kind of step up the role I was playing and play a larger role, especially with the Clean Out the Freezer Day. You know, Hunters for Hungry has 2 major activities. One is your Clean Out the Freezer Day, which is one day, typically the third or fourth Sunday in September, right before hunting season. It focuses on giving out hunters an opportunity to give back to the communities that they live in, provide support to the communities. through going through the freezers, taking out last year's game, fish, etc., and donating to people who need it, giving them an opportunity to, again, give back to the communities they live in. And it also kind of highlights the hunters to the rest of the community. As the United States and actually the world becomes more and more of an urban country, urban environment, there's less hunters and fishers as a percentage of the population. And we all feel it's a very important part of our culture, something we grew up doing, and we want to make sure that not just we can do it today, but our kids and grandkids can do it in the future. So the more we get hunters in the limelight doing good things, providing back to our communities, we'll get community support back to us as hunters.